Hey guys, today I have a video here from the great Dark microtransaction that is called Diablo 4 Endgame Itemization is changing. Of course, this title caught my attention because one of the biggest problems in Diablo 4 is that itemization sucks. It sucks very big dick, brother. I believe it is the second biggest problem behind not having an endgame. They are trying to improve the endgame with the new bosses. I believe it is still not enough. Maybe with the introduction of leaderboards, they introduce a new activity. They say they were going to do it, and then the end game will be more robust. But then the itemization will still suck if they don't change it. So this is a topic that interests me, so I want to watch this video. And I believe the vast majority of the community thinks that the itemization in Diablo 4 sucks.
There is one big issue in Diablo 4 that most of the feedback's agreeing with. In fact, I don't think I've seen anyone in my times on the internet actually disagree with the fact that Diablo 4's itemization could be better. That's to put it nicely. People do not...
Exactly, that is to put it nicely. Because it sucks, brother. That is the truth. The itemization in Diablo 4 just fucking sucks, my dude. It is too many stats that do nothing. You get your best in a slot item at level 60. They are trying to improve that, by the way, but it's still not a big deal. The way the rares and the legendaries and the unique work is stupid. You don't care for white and blues. It is just a big mess. The whole fucking thing, it is a mess. You don't care, aside from your weapon, you don't care really about item level, because even in the new patch they are going to introduce, they said that the item level doesn't matter for the range of the stats. It just matters for the armor, and in the case of the weapon, for the damage. So you only really care an item level for the weapon. So yes, a lot of problems in Diablo 4 itemization, but let's see what he has to say.
Not like the itemization in Diablo 4. It feels both bad from a dopamine level of, okay, I didn't get exciting drop, as well as a doesn't feel very well put together type of level with the affixes. It's bad on both sides.
Exactly, it's bad on both sides. With the dopamine level, he means when you get a drop and if you like, and if you feel excited about what dropped. And in reality, it isn't. As a druid, you only get excited if you find Tempest Roar, and you only need it once, maybe twice if you want better stats. But even getting one Tempest Roar is a big stretch. So yes, I got a Tempest Roar, insane. But aside from that, you don't care about any other unique. Legendaries, you don't care because you just extract them and imprint them. The item you really care, in quotes, are the rares. But the rares, when it drops in the floor, you don't know if it is a good rare for you or not, because you have to pick it up. Then when you are in town and you have all your rares, you have to go rare by rare to see if it is the rare that you are looking for. A loot filter could help with this, because you can set it up that you only see the items that you are looking for. So if an item drops, you get the little dopamine, oh, I can use this item. But it is still not a solution, because the itemization in the back is still stupid. You know, the deep problem is the itemization per se. So the loot filter will be just a band-aid. And in the affixes, well, we all know, like damage while shape-shifted, damage while werewolf, damage while werewolf, damage with werewolf, damage with werewolf. What is this bullshit? All of this should be damage while shape-shifted. And that is it. Brother, these stats on affixes are so stupid.
Sides. So I believe this is currently Blizzard's focus on improving the itemization within Season 3. And I can see this by some of the changes they're going to be making, but more importantly, on October 10th, they're doing an update live stream.
That is tomorrow, boss. I am excited because they say that they are going to rework. Almost every unique in the game is going to receive a rework. I am very excited about that. Plus, they are going to release 12 new uniques. Last season were 6. So now we are getting twice the uniques. So I am really excited. Give me juicy uniques that are build creating, brother. Build enabling.
And on that update live stream, they're talking about two things in particular, which is damage buckets and uniques. And both of these pair together.
Very important the thing about the damage bucket in there, because you guys know that I hate vulnerable. I say this in almost every fucking video. I hate vulnerable how it works right now. I think it is boring. I think it is too powerful. You have to take it, and it is stupid. I am hoping for a good rework in regards to vulnerability and crit and overpower and all of that.
Together, and we'll talk about why and exactly how I believe
excuse me for the pauses, because we think that they might make a solution with the rework, but they might make it worse, you know, and I hope it doesn't go that way. I hope it is a solution.
They're going to be using these changes in order to improve the itemization in Diablo 4. So let's get into it. So first, let's agree with what the baseline level is. You're going to go ahead and you're going to level up. As you're leveling up, you're going to acquire items. These items will make you strong enough to do Nightmare Dungeons. You would do Nightmare Dungeons to continue the level, because you need levels in order to be able to continually do higher and higher Nightmare Dungeons. And while you're doing that, you're getting better gear from the Nightmare Dungeons. And it's just this giant circle of you do Nightmare Dungeons in order to both get items as well as get levels. And Nightmare Dungeons is the only thing that you are effectively doing over and over and over again. Because of that, the gameplay is repetitive. The item drops are repetitive, and it doesn't feel very good. We all know this. We all can agree with this. So how do they break up this repetitive gameplay if I just want more and more items to do higher and higher Nightmare Dungeons?
I was like in World Tier 3, I unlocked World Tier 4, but I didn't really play it in the first season because I was already bored, because you only repeat once and once again the same thing. So I was with sacred items. I never upgraded to ancestral items, and I was at a point that I was not even looking at the thing I was dropped for me. I just was selling and salvaging everything, selling, because I don't care what you are dropping. You only want to get over with this to get to the next tier, and then maybe look at some items, get the ones that you like, and then again you don't care and you just sell everything. It is stupid, brother. You just are repeating once and once again the very same thing. It is boring. The itemization is unoriginal, stupid crap.
Dungeon tiers. Well, if you watch the dev live stream, you would have seen this.
I like this, by the way. I like this chart because they are trying to introduce more things in there. Of course, I am of the opinion that this is an improvement, but it is not ideal, and it still has room for improvement, and I hope they keep going forward in future seasons.
Which is their Season of Blood content progression system, in which they explain that there's going to be 5 new bosses, and each of these bosses will be contracted in a different way. You'll be able to get these materials from different parts of the game. For instance, if you want to play Lord Zir, then you would have to go do...
By the way, for Lord Zir, and he's going to say you have to do world bosses and Legion events. I hope the unique that I want doesn't drop from that guy. I don't want to look at a clock to see when the world boss is going to spawn and when the Legion event is going to happen, so I can get the materials to do this shit. Or maybe I just trade for them because they say that you can trade for the materials. Because, brother, looking at the clock is stupid. Do this every half an hour, every hour. Having to check when the world boss is going to spawn because it is 3.5 hours is stupid, motherfucker.
Do world bosses as well as Legion events to get the materials you need in order to actually fight the Lord Zir boss. Well, how do you decide which boss you want to actually do? And this is where we start getting into how I believe they're going to address itemization. You see, each of these unique bosses will have their own unique item pool that will drop its own unique items. So effectively, literal unique items will be target farmable through these bosses. Now, when you're hearing this, you might think that does not fix itemization. Uniques both drop in nightmares, as well as uniques don't feel very good. There are quite a lot of bad uniques in the game, and there are some classes that just straight up don't have good uniques.
Even if the majority of uniques were good and build creating, which is a good thing, itemization will not be fixed because it is the whole system behind it. You know, the item level system, the affixes system, the affixes range system, the rare, legendary, and unique system where you don't care about legendary, they are only extractable, you care about the rare, the whites, and the blues. So the whole system is stupid, you know. Even if all the uniques were useful, all of that would still be stupid.
At all. So how is Blizzard going to add in-game bosses that have a target farmable pool of items that are bad, fix itemization within the game? And this is where we need to understand damage buckets. And currently in the game, critical strike damage and vulnerability are tiers above other affixes. That's because they're multiplicative in nature and not necessarily additive in nature, meaning that you...
And out of the two, I hate vulnerability the most because it is boring. Critical strike, you could argue that it is boring and it is RNG. Vulnerability is not RNG. But we have grown used to critical strike because, brother, since Warcraft 2, I don't know, we are playing with critical strikes, you know. I don't mind playing with critical strike. I am used to it. I already have it ingrained in my gamer mentality. I am fine with critical strikes. But vulnerability, I already have critical strikes, and on top of that, you give me vulnerability, which is boring too, and it is stupid. Just remove that shit out of here. Of course, if you improve critical strike too, hey, win-win.
You want as much vulnerability and critical strike damage in order to deal as much damage as possible. Now, because of that, they have pigeonholed themselves into making unique items fairly boring. You're going to have vulnerability and critical strike damage on the item for it to be able to be considered good. For instance, we've seen this when they buffed the recent unique items by basically just adding vulnerability and critical strike damage into a lot of them. So in order for uniques to be good, they need to fundamentally change the concept of damage buckets. Now, here's the thing. On October 10th, that is exactly what that live stream is about. They mentioned there's two things they're going to be doing. Uniques are being changed, as well as damage buckets are being looked into. Now, if they change the way damage buckets work and, for instance, make like things like overpower better, that instantly makes some of the base uniques we already have more important. But more importantly, if they change uniques and actually...
Even if they don't change uniques or itemization, just when you change the way the stats work with the current system, you already change the meta, you know. When you make vulnerable suck, you already change what the stats people are looking for on their items, you know. That is already one change. Of course, I still want the change to the uniques, but this is true. When you change one variable, the whole equation changes.
Actually make uniques, I don't know, a good item. For instance, let's say not just the Tempest Roar is going to be good for my Druid boys, then you have a reason to go out there and farm each of these individual bosses from this nice graph that we can see right here. So effectively what they're going to be doing is changing the damage.
This graph was the one that hooked me in the developer stream. When they showed this, I said, okay, I mean, it got me a little bit hyped, you know. I know that in practice it will not be that awesome because maybe you get the materials for the boss that you want, you kill the boss, it drops the item that you want, and then you don't go there. You don't have a need to go there anymore. You have the item and then you go and farm 300 nightmare dungeons in a row and you get bored again. I know that it is not enough, but it got me a little hyped, you know. There is a little more stuff to do. You maybe say, oh, I want to kill all the bosses just for the experience, not only for the drops and stuff like that. For example, it would be cool to kill the 5 bosses, including Duriel, and then killing Lilith when you got your ultra BIS build, you know. And they said it will take 40% less time. Maybe you are more inclined to do it. Let's see what happens. I said this season might be underwhelming still, but again, it is a step in the right direction. Several seasons along the way, I believe the game will be good. And maybe the 3rd season is the one with the leaderboards and the new activity. Let's hope.
Bucket system, adding in good uniques or changing uniques we have, because they both add new uniques in the season as well as rebalance uniques to make uniques important. So now what we can do is...
By the way, I want to address this right now, and it is a tangential point that it is not related to the video, but since I am saying something good about the game, that I think the game will be good eventually, I think right now it sucks. Obviously, it is impossible to deny that. Some people might say, oh, you are being overly too positive, let Diablo 4 go, it sucks, blah, blah, blah. Yes, the game sucks, and Blizzard sucks, they do everything for money and whatever, and blah, blah, blah. Yes, that is true too. But you know what? At the end of the day, I don't really care if they do everything for money. If the game turns out to be good, then I will enjoy it, and if it doesn't, then I will just keep saying that it sucks. So I don't feel personally attached to or the game or Blizzard. Like, brother, I just want the game to be good. I don't care if they are whatever reason they are doing it. If they make the game good and they make money, well, good for them, brother. Now, if they don't make the game good and they make money, fuck them.
Yes, you can farm the Nightmare Dungeons in order to get the items you want that are rare or ancestral, etc., you know, sacred ancestral, and we already know for a fact that World Tier 3 is only going to drop sacreds, World Tier 4 is only going to drop ancestral, so it will be easier to acquire those items, meaning we're going to be getting to the in-game of itemization sooner. So the actual in-game of itemization is being moved sooner, not farther away. So you might be thinking, well, that's less content for us to do, but that's because I believe they're focusing or shifting the focus towards unique items. I believe that is their concept of we're going to change the way damage buckets work, and we're going to remodify these uniques to be really good. So that way, if uniques are basically what you're looking for when you get one, that will solve the dopamine issue. There's a unique.
So maybe what he's trying to say, I don't know, I am just making an assumption, is that you will put more emphasis on your uniques this time around, because for example, for the druid, you always work one unique at a time, maybe two, and most builds just used one unique and they didn't care about the other uniques. Some builds use two, and everything else are used legendaries that are rares that you imprint. And there are other builds for other classes, for example, barbarians that don't use any uniques at all. So maybe they are, now that you have several bosses and they are going to rework uniques, they want you to use more uniques. Like now you use 2, 3, 4 uniques. Probably. I don't know. Just an assumption.
Hopefully that's the one I need, because the uniques are actually good now, and it also gives you a reason to not just do Nightmare Dungeons, because while the Nightmare Dungeons can still drop uniques, you have the full pool of uniques, whereas if you choose to set up yourself to get materials to summon these new world bosses, then you're going to be bringing yourself outside of Nightmare Dungeons into other parts of the map. Like I mentioned, world bosses and legions events,
which is a good decision.
Or Hell Tides if you want to fight.
This was a smart move on their part. Like you don't go to the place, kill the boss, go in, go out, go in, go out. Because they said, well, these motherfuckers are going to kill the boss 20 times in 20 minutes and then the content is done. No, make them farm other content that nobody cares about so they can fight the boss. A smart move to manipulate us to do those activities. A smart move, brother.
The Galvanic Saint, for instance. So then we have sort of a mid-game of farming and getting the uniques that are now good through these different bosses, which are outside of Nightmare Dungeons. Now the gameplay loop is looking a little bit different. So now we have an early game of leveling up to do Nightmare Dungeons, getting Nightmare Dungeon gear, going to World Tier 3 and 4, and then from there going and farming your uniques through target farming each of these bosses. That would be more the mid-game, now getting uniques. There's an entirely new in-game to this game, which is now the Uber Uniques. Because of the new boss, Uber Durio, there is going to be a reason to farm other bosses. You're going to have to farm 2 different bosses to get the materials in order to be able to do the Uber.
Which is a good choice too, in my opinion, because even if those bosses don't drop the uniques that you want and you don't farm for them because you don't care about those uniques, you have to kill them if you want to fight Duriel. And everybody will want to fight Duriel because it's a level 100 boss and it has a chance to drop Uber uniques. So it is a good choice. But I have to say something in here. The fact that the boss that drops Uber uniques is a level 100 boss, and we would assume that you are going to fight the level 100 boss at level 100 like you did with Lilith, but probably people are going to kill him level 90, level 95, something like that. People that are good at the game, whatever. But let's assume you are going to fight in a level 100. At that point, why the fuck do I want to have an Uber unique? I already beat the game, motherfucker. I know that some people don't think like that. Some people think that the game starts at level 100 and they are min-maxing their character. But me personally, I believe that at that point, it is already useless. I already have no use for this item because I don't want to play the game anymore. I already killed Duriel. Why the fuck would I keep playing? Maybe kill Lilith with that item and that's it. If you want to optimize a build and kill Lilith fast or whatever, or just as a token of pride, hey, I got this item, it is so cool. But not like you are really going to use the item because you already beat the game, brother. It is pointless, in my opinion. I believe they should do that earlier, you know, that you can get those items level 90, for example, starting level 85, as I said before. Because at level 100, it is already pointless. I know for some people it isn't, but I would think that for the vast majority of people it would.
Durio, and Uber Durio is now going to drop Uber Uniques. So the ultimate in-game is going to be farming for and acquiring these Uber Uniques through the new Uber Durio, too many Ubers, Uber Durio in-game boss. That is a mouthful. So effectively, they're doing three things. Changing damage buckets so that damage buckets will actually have more variety in uniques, getting them out of the pigeonholed situation they put themselves in, which making rares are better than uniques just because you can have the stats that actually matter. So now that gives them more variety and option for uniques. Then they're buffing the uniques once again in order to make uniques more exciting. They're giving you ways to actually acquire these uniques. And now once you have a build that is good, you have a level 100 Uber Durio boss in which you can farm the materials to farm this boss to attempt to get the ultimate in-game gear, which is the Uber Uniques. Now this cycle,
which is good that we can have a way to have Uber Uniques. Before they didn't exist, don't get me wrong. I just believe they could have made it better, you know. And another thing that is going to happen, of course, this isn't related to itemization, but it is, as I said earlier, when you change one variable, everything else changes. They are going to do a massive balance patch too. So when they balance the classes, that might also affect what stats you are looking for and what uniques you are looking for because of the inherent balance of the class.
Is hopefully more exciting than just farming the same Nightmare Dungeon over and over and over and over and over again. Maybe
that is going to happen still. Less so, but it's still going to happen. Believe me.
Get the unique you wanted. Maybe you don't. Who cares? Because the unique is probably dog shit literally anyway. So this is going to be, hopefully, and we'll find out again on October 10th, and I will be live not only now as of the posting of this video, but also on October 10th to cover it. Hopefully at that time when they address both of these issues, I will be correct. And that is what they're focusing on, and they will have answers to how they're handling the damage buckets as well as the unique item mitigation into actually being good items. Now, whether or not...
And I will of course review that too, brother. You can expect that video to be on here, and probably several videos complaining about every single thing or praising if it is good, you know. So yes, we will have that in this channel too, for sure.
This in and of itself, the itemization is enough to save Diablo 4 or make the people come back or make the game.
Diablo 4 needs a lot of things to save the game.
Exciting for you people that maybe feel negative about the game. It's completely up for you to decide, but it's not the only thing being acquired to the game. It is one such feedback issue that seems to be addressed if you look and you kind of put the pieces together by reading between the lines, seeing what's coming on October 10th, seeing what they're focusing on already. They've mentioned on October 4th, seeing the new bosses. There's a huge heavy focus on unique items as well as Uber Unique, and that is going to be how they're going to make the new in-game function. At least that is my belief by looking at what they have already mentioned.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what
happens. There are
happens.
plenty of other things they're doing that we've covered in
they have to even beyond that, they have to try to rework itemization, the affixes, the stuff. I don't know if they will do it because maybe they think it is fine, but there is a deeper problem in there, and they might know because they adjusted the item. They are adjusting the item level, so they know something is wrong in there.
The previous video, like quality of life buffs, for instance, and I do like that while they're trying to get people out of the Nightmare Dungeons, they're not forgetting about the Nightmare Dungeons, and they're still removing some of the objectives that are annoying.
That is
still
cool.
Adding quality of life, improving density, and doing things they should be doing.
You don't know how happy I was when they say, now you don't have to do the objective, you go directly to the boss. Oh, brother, that was the happiest day of my life.
Make Nightmare Dungeons feel better, even though they're trying to pull the focus off of Nightmare Dungeons. So I like that as well. Now, if you've been watching me for a while, you know I started fairly positive about Diablo 4. I got to the game, mostly started getting into the in-game, started to get bored, and started to be a little bit more negative. But the thing about me, when I like something, I'll say I like it. When I don't like something, I'll say I don't like it. And at the moment,
that is how
I feel positive about Season 2.
That is how it should be. That is what I do. But a lot of people do the bullshit where, oh, people are saying D4 bad. I have to say D4 bad. Oh, people are saying Diablo 4 is safe. I have to say Diablo 4 is safe. You say what you really think, brother. Some people, either way, say what you say. Some people are going to agree and some people are going to disagree. I understand there are numbers in there. But I just say what I think and fuck it.
But again, I felt positive before, so we're going to have to see how it actually is implemented once the game comes out. That will be on October 17th. With that being said, I will be seeing you guys on the live stream. Let me know your thoughts about itemization, how they attempt to address it. If you think I'm on the money with where they're going with their new in-game content, or if I'm wrong, leave all that down below. Love you all, and that was
I believe this was a great video. It made us discuss a lot of cool things about itemization. I believe it is a possibility they are focusing more on uniques for sure. I don't know still if when they meant about the rework of the uniques, they were meaning their effects or their stats or both. And if they are focusing on making you use more uniques, or just making your build revolve around 1 or 2 uniques only and you still have a lot of legendaries. But for sure they want to improve itemization because they should know it sucks, and the vast majority of players know it sucks, but this still won't be enough in my opinion, and they have to keep iterating on it. We have to remember that they are also going to talk about a future patch that is coming mid-season or whatever. And let's hope that that patch is also good. I have hopes for the future of the game. Maybe it is pure copium because I make videos for the game and I want the game to be good. But let's see what happens, brother. And yes, this was a great video for our friend Darth Microtransaction, brother. Let me know in the comments below what you think about all of this. Are they making good changes to itemization? Will the itemization continue to suck? Is the game doomed? Has the game a future? Am I stupid for still covering this bullshit? Let me know all of that in the comments below. I love reading comments, brother. Guys, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that cool stuff, brother. Help me out. Thanks for being here, guys. You are fucking awesome. God bless ya. And remember, as the great Bill Hicks said, this is just a ride.